Dakshinamurti was the right place for us to begin. Also, to our right is a small Ganapati here, and we thought that today we also wanted to unlearn some of these ideas that we have, unlearning these ideas that Ganapati is different, Vishnu is different. So we said we will begin at Ganapati specifically, and to illustrate that, the very, very beautiful story that is given in one of the Puranas that talks about how once when Parvati celebrated Ganesha's birthday, which is going to come up in a few months, she called everybody and she sent word to Vishnu in Vaikuntha as well. But he wanted to teach one of his dutas a lesson, so he told one of his attendants, you go, and on my behalf you go and represent me. So when this duta came, he came, and then the entire birthday celebrations are over. Parvati, being Annapurna, she wanted to feed everybody, so she told everybody you have to eat and leave. So then this duta Vishnu comes to her and he says, if you don't mind, I'll leave. So she said, that's not allowed in Kailasha, nobody goes back from here empty stomach, so you eat and go. He said, no, it's nothing like that. It's just that we have a rule in Vaikuntham. We don't eat until we see our Swami's face, and my Swami is not here, no, so I can't eat. So she said, is it? Okay. You do one thing, my little boy, after the birthday celebration, he's tired, he's inside the room. You go inside and you see him, and then you just tell him that you're leaving and carry on. So the Duta goes inside that room, that Bhavanam of Kailasha, he opens the doors. He's expecting to see a baby little Ganapati sleeping, but there he sees with Shankha Chakra Gada Padma, he sees Narayana on the Ananta Sesha. He bows down, comes out to Parvati and he says, I saw my Swami, I will eat now. So we thought that oneness between Ganapati and Vishnu is the right place for us to begin this Nama Sankirtana, which will be on Vithala and Vishnu today. So with that, we proceed.
Ganesha Kumara Pahima Gajamukha 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 Ganesha Kumara Pahima Manoratha Siddhi Dayaka Manoratha Siddhi Dayaka Manoratha Siddhi Dayaka Agama Pada Vinuta Bhava Shri Guru Guhanuta Ganesha Kumara Pahima Manoratha Siddhi Dayaka Agama Pada Vinuta Bhava Shri Guru Guhanuta Ganesha Kumara Pahima Gajamukha Ganesha Kumara Pahima Gajamukha Ganesha Kumara Pahima.
We will now,
Yeah, we will be starting off with the Namavali and walking out. So I request you all to sing along. Namavalis are simple names of God, so it must be pretty easy for everybody.
and we begin with the Guru Namavali because that's the right place to start in metaphorically and literally.
Guru Maharaj Guru Jai Jai Parabrahma Sadguru 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 Parabrahma Sadguru, Parabrahma Sadguru,
Parabrahma Sadguru,
Parabrahma Sadguru, Parabrahma Sadguru, Parabrahma Sadguru, Parabrahma Sadguru,
Parabrahma Sadguru,
Guru Maharaj Guru Jai Jai Parabrahma Sadguru, Parabrahma Sadguru,
Parabrahma Sadguru,
Parabrahma Sadguru,
Parabrahma Sadguru,
Parabrahma Sadguru.
So today we want to start the exploration of the Yatra, understanding a little bit more about Nāmdev in specific. The reason that we chose Nāmdev, there are so many sons in Maharashtra, so many people so connected to Vittalā. And Nāmdev's is one particular journey where his connection is not about, it's not an electrifying moment where there is suddenly a merging with Paramatma. It's about the journey of an individual. And Nāmdev as an individual is a very interesting individual because he's so lost in Vittalā that as beautiful as that sounds on paper, there are a lot of practical problems with it. So we wanted to choose one such thing that we can also relate to. When Nāmdev was growing up, his parents were also bhaktas of Vittalā. His parents were tailors. And as much as they were bhaktas of Vittalā, they were worried about the boy's obsessive bhakti. That he would do nothing but sing abhangs all day. He would do nothing but just sit in front of Vittalā all day. Wherever he was thinking of Vittalā. So his father realized there is only one cure for this problem. Let me pull him towards samsara. So when he was a small boy, his father being a tailor, he took a heap of clothes and gave it to Nāmdev and told him by evening you need to sell this entire bundle of clothes and come back. So Nāmdev there was no choice in the matter. So Nāmdev agreed. He took the bundle and he went and sat on a small little rock. He sat there thinking, I'll go in 5 minutes and go to the market and I'll start to sell the clothes. So he thought, I have 5 minutes now, I'll use it for Vithala Kirtana. So he began that Kirtana of Vithala sitting on the rock. So let's see how did that Kirtana sound.
Vithala, 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 Panduranga. Vithala, 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 Panduranga.
Vithala, 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 Panduranga.
Vithala, 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 Panduranga. Vithala, 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 Panduranga. Panduranga, Panduranga, Vithala, Vithala, Panduranga. Panduranga, Panduranga, Vithala, Vithala, Panduranga. Vithala, 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 Panduranga. Vithala, Vithala, Panduranga. Vithala, Vithala, Panduranga. Vithala, Vithala, Panduranga. Vithala, Vithala, Panduranga.
Vithala, Vithala, Panduranga.
Vithala, Vithala, Panduranga.
Panduranga.
Vithala, Vithala, Panduranga. Vithala, Vithala, Panduranga. Vithala, Vithala, Panduranga. Vithala, Vithala, Panduranga. Vithala, Vithala, Panduranga. 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 Vithala Panduranga. Vithala Panduranga. Vithala Panduranga.
Vithala Panduranga.
Vithala Panduranga.
Vithala Panduranga.
Vithala Panduranga.
Vithala Panduranga.
Vithala Panduranga.
Vithala Panduranga.
Vithala Panduranga.
Vithala Panduranga.
Vithala Panduranga.
Vithala Panduranga.
Vithala Panduranga.
Vithala Panduranga.
Vithala Panduranga.
Vithala Panduranga.
Vithala Panduranga.
Vithala Panduranga. Vitala Panduranga,
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 Vitala
Vitala
Panduranga,
Panduranga. Much like us, Nāmdev got lost in Vithala Panduranga's name. The whole day passed, 5 minutes became sunset, and suddenly Nāmdev realized that that bundle of clothes was not sold, and he was supposed to go back and give the money to his father at the end of the day. But he realized something else. That was not his problem. His problem was that it is evening time and he should be in Panduranga's temple because it is the evening Aarti time. So he looked at the clothes, he looked at where he was sitting on a rock, and he said, what I'm going to do now is, these clothes have to be sold. So I'm going to sell these clothes to the rock that I'm sitting on. Then he quickly looked around, somebody should be there as a witness for this transaction, no? So he finds another rock there and he looks at him and he says, you are the witness that this transaction is done. So now I can go in peace and I can go to my Panduranga's mandiram. So off went Nāmdev and he left the clothes there because he sold them. But beautiful as it is, he had to go back home. So when he went back home, his father asked him, have you sold it? So Nāmdev hesitatingly tells him that, yeah, sold it. To who did you sell it? He says, I sold it to a rock. His father looked at him and said, what's wrong with you? And he said, look, I knew you would ask me this. I knew you won't believe me. So there is another person as a witness. So his father is looking and he says, who is going to be a witness to this kind of madness? So at this point, he says, go and bring your witness and come. So Nāmdev said, okay. He went first to the Vithala Mandira and he cried there, saying, it's not my fault that I didn't sell those things. First of all, he believed that he sold it actually. He doesn't say that. But he says, it's not my fault that my father is looking at me angrily like that. It's because you distracted me with your songs all day. So now you find a way out of this. So he went to the Mandira, to the Panduranga Mandira, then goes, takes that little rock up that was the witness, and he went and put it inside a room and he closed the door. Then he went and told his father. This time he was shaking because he was scared of his father's temper. So he went to him and he said, the witness is sitting inside the room. You can go ask him what you want. I don't want to be around when you ask him this. So he runs back again to the Panduranga Mandiram. Nāmdev's beauty is that he does not hesitate to converse with Panduranga. He does not hesitate to say, I want this. This takes away from that idea of spirituality that there is something wrong in asking. There is nothing wrong in asking. So he tells him, Appa is going to open the door. I don't know what's going to happen. It's on you. So sure enough, back at home, when his father opens the door, instead of a rock, he sees a heap of gold lying there. This is his father's first moment when he realizes that this boy is something extraordinary beyond vision. And that we thought was the right way for us to start understanding the power of conversation in bhakti. So, yeah.
Panduranga dhyani, Panduranga mani, Panduranga dhyani, Panduranga mani, Panduranga dhyani, Jagriti swapni, Panduranga, Jagriti swapni, Panduranga, Panduranga jnani, Panduranga mani, Panduranga jnani, Panduranga mani, Jagriti swapni, Panduranga, Jagriti swapni, Panduranga, Panduranga dhyani, Panduranga mani, Panduranga dhyani, Panduranga mani, Jagriti स्वप्नी पांडुरंग जागृति स्वप्नी पांडुरंग पांडुरंग ध्यानी पांडुरंग मानी पांडुरंग ध्यानी. What do we do?
Continue with another Namavali. International.
Okay.
Till
Vithala Panduranga, Vithala Panduranga. Vithala Panduranga, Vithala Panduranga.
Vithala Panduranga.
Vithala Panduranga, Vithala Panduranga.
Vithala Panduranga.
Vithala Panduranga, Vithala Panduranga.
Vithala Panduranga.
Vithala Panduranga, Vithala Panduranga.
Vithala Panduranga.
Vithala Panduranga, Vithala Panduranga.
Vithala Panduranga.
Vithala Panduranga, Vithala Panduranga.
Vithala Panduranga.
Vithala Panduranga, Vithala Panduranga.
Vithala Panduranga.
Vithala Panduranga, Vithala Panduranga.
Vithala Panduranga.
Vithala Panduranga,
Vithala Panduranga.
Vithala Panduranga.
Vithala Panduranga.
Vithala Panduranga,
Vithala Panduranga.
Vithala Panduranga. Vithala Panduranga, Vithala Panduranga. Vithala Panduranga, Vithala Panduranga.
Nāmdev's love soon grew into a very possessive love, and that possession ensured that he did not leave Pandharpur at all, because wherever he went, even if it was for a day or 2 days, he just could not take his mind off Vithala, and that possessiveness grew. So he said, I will not go anywhere. At this point, this is when a sant's journey is very, very beautiful to understand, because there are several other forces that come in, not just for sants but for every being, that come out as the Lord's calling. The Lord's desire was not that he should stay in Pandharpur alone. The Lord's desire was that he should do a Yatra. Another reason why we have titled this program as Yatra. And Nāmdev's Yatra took him to a host of places. Nāmdev's Yatra happened along with Sant Gyaneshwar. Together they went to several such places, and as they did the Yatra, we ourselves will do a Yatra. Behind me and in front of you is Lakshmi Narasimha, one of the most phenomenal forms of Mahavishnu, and we encourage you to sit with his Namam as we go inside, and then we'll tell you one beautiful incident that happened. Many happened, but we'll choose one beautiful one that happened in this particular Yatra.
Since he is with Mahalakshmi here, we will have a Namavali which includes her name also. Vithala Rakumai, Vitobha Rakumai. 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 रकुमाई विठोबा रकुमाई विठ्ठल रकुमाई विठ्ठल रकुमाई विठ्ठल रकुमाई विठ्ठल रकुमाई विठ्ठल रकुमाई विठ्ठल रकुमाई विठ्ठल
So Nāmdev and Gyaneshwar, they did several yatras. They went to Kashi, they met Kabir. Several such things happened. And the power of Nāmdev's internalized Sankirtanam. Sankirtanam is Kalau Sankirtane Hari, they say, that in Kali Yugam, the easiest way to reach him is not through complicated yajnas, but through Sankirtanam alone. And Nāmdev had done so much of Sankirtanam for Narayana that siddhi, that yogis focus on attaining, that siddhi started automatically attaining. And that came to the forefront when they were in Marwar region of Rajasthan. It's a desert region, so very naturally it was extremely hot and they were thirsty for water. So they came across a well, and Dhyaneshwar had attained several siddhis of his own. So they were both thirsty, and Dhyaneshwar looked at Nāmdev and he said, "Shall we get the water?" But the water level was very low in the well. So Nāmdev said, "How?" And Nāmdev was a very simple human being. So immediately Dhyaneshwar smiled and he said, "The second siddhi is Laghima Siddhi. We have something called Ashta Siddhis, 8 kinds of siddhis. One is the ability to transform the form. One is the ability to make oneself smaller. And then he said, I can become a bird. So why don't you use Laghima Siddhi, Nāmdev? Become a bird and you can go and get the water." Nāmdev looked and he said, "Idella romba complicated irka. I don't know all this. I know one thing, that if a child is thirsty or if a child is hungry, the only thing that it knows is to call out to its mother." So not calling out to Panduranga, but calling out to Rukmini or Rakumai, he immediately thought of her for a second and he said, "You sent me on this yatra, so my thirst is your responsibility, fix it." Dhyaneshwar watched as all the tapas that he had earned, which would have made him turn into a smaller bird and go and get the water, none of that was required because the water level in the well just raised by itself. He looked at Nāmdev and he said, "This is the power of Sankirtanam." And we thought this was a very beautiful story to also show the power of the grace of the goddess. If you look at Nāmdev's journey, majority of his compositions but naturally are on Panduranga, but he sees Rakumai as the Shakti that makes Panduranga accessible. That's why we sung this in front of Lakshmi Narasimha in particular. And with that, we continue our yatra.
संतांचे भोजन अमृताचे पान संतांचे भोजन अमृताचे पान करीती कीर्तन करीती कीर्तन करीती कीर्तन करीती कीर्तन सर्व काळ करीती कीर्तन सर्व काळ सर्व काळ सर्व काळ संतांची या गावी प्रेमाचा सुखाळ संतांची या गावी प्रेमाचा सुखाळ नाही तळमळ नाही तळमळ नाही तळमळ दुःखलेश दुःखलेश संतांची या गावी प्रेमाचा सुखाळ संतांची या गावी प्रेमाचा सुखाळ.
I'll just explain. So the bhavam here is about, in this abhang, is about how Vithala is the hunger that is appeased, Vithala is the thirst that is quenched. When Nāmdev picked up water in the well, he saw Vithala in it. So there's no difference between Paramatma and the Panchabhutas. That Vithala, it is Jale Vishnu, Sthale Vishnu. That's the bhavam that he saw everywhere.
You continue the song?
Continue.
Yeah. Santancha udima upadeshachi petha. Santancha udima upadeshachi petha. Prema sukha saata, prema sukha saata. Gheti deti, gheti deti. Prema sukha saata, gheti deti. घेती देती संतांची या गावी प्रेमाचा सुकाळ संतांची या गावी प्रेमाचा सुकाळ विठ्ठल पांडुरंग 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 पांडुरंग
Nāmdev was also present, or Nāmdev's arrival came at a time when the clash between Vaishnavism and Shaivism was really at its peak. Nāmdev, however, was someone who was able to see Shiva in Vithala and vice versa. So if you look at some of the abhangs that he composed on his Yatra, there are several ones that are addressed to Paramashiva because he did not see a difference. But prior to Nāmdev, there were people who struggled with that notion of seeing Shiva and Vishnu as the very same. And one beautiful example is of a goldsmith who lived on the road of Pandharpur's temple where Panduranga was. What was interesting was, or what is interesting is, on the Mahadwaram, Panduranga is Bhuloka Vaikuntham. So Shiva is present there as well as he is in Vaikuntham along with Vishnu, and on the Mahadwaram of the Mandiram, Shiva is present as Mallikarjuna Swami. Now this goldsmith was a devotee of that Mallikarjuna Swami, but he was such a staunch devotee of the Mallikarjuna Swami there that he would enter, just have a darshan of this Mallikarjuna on the Dwaram, and he would exit. He would not by mistake also look at Panduranga in the fear that he should not see Vishnu. So this kind of, this obsession was very strong in this particular goldsmith, and his Parabrahma's blessing to him comes in the form that Parabrahma wanted to show him that there is no difference between Shiva and Vishnu. So this comes in a very, very twisted way, where this goldsmith is caring about his work, and one day from a neighboring town, somebody comes to him and he says, look, I've heard your work is extremely good. I heard that your craftsmanship is very fine. So I want to give you the job of making a waistband. So he says, okay, give me the measurements of the person, I'll do it. So he says, actually it's for Panduranga. This is what I'm offering for Panduranga. He said, Aga laogi. I don't do anything for Panduranga. So he says, look, I have inquired so much in so many towns. You are the only person who everybody is recommending. So you please do this for me. He says, no, I won't do it. I cannot see Panduranga. How will I take his measurements? So they get into this clash where the merchant is refusing to go to anyone else. Finally, the goldsmith gives up saying, okay, fine. I'll come on one condition. You blindfold me. When I have to take the measurements, you blindfold me and I will come and do it. So before this, what happens is, because this merchant is troubling him so much, this goldsmith says, fine, I'll make something. He gets some rough measurement, he finds out from somebody, he gives it to him. Merchant is thrilled. He takes the first draft of the waistband to Panduranga. But Panduranga is not such a easy-go-lucky guy. He's a very troublesome fellow. So immediately merchant goes there. He realizes Panduranga, the idol, in Mahipati's words, the idol chokes a little bit, which happens when you put a cloth too tight. So immediately goes back to the goldsmith and he says, it's too tight. So he says, okay, I'll add one extra chain. With least interest, he's doing this entire job. He says, I'll add one extra chain, take it. Then he goes to Panduranga, it slips right off. So he comes back to him saying, look, you have to come and take measurements. There's no way around it. That's when he tells him, fine, I'll come and I'll take the measurements on one condition. You put a patti on my eyes. I should not see by mistake also this Panduranga of yours. So he agrees. The merchant ties him on a blindfold. And then he's taken in. He takes a thread to do the measurements of Panduranga's waist. And when he goes there, when his eyes are closed, he's taking the measurement. He's not sure what to expect, but suddenly he feels a slithering movement. So he feels, oh, it's a snake. Then he moves his hand around with his eyes closed on the body to wonder, what is this? And he's expecting, he knows it's Panduranga, so he's expecting the hands to be like this. But instead of that, he feels one hand and he feels a little more and he feels a Trishulam. Then he continues to feel and he feels the Mrigapani, that is the deer. Then he pays more attention and he starts to hear that there are snakes slithering. Now there's a blindfold on him. But inside him he's like, this is not Panduranga, this is Shiva. But he can't take off the blindfold. So he's wondering, what do I do, what do I do? And then finally he realizes as he touches the feet, he realizes the feet are the same, that is my Parashiva himself. He removes the blindfold and instead of Panduranga, he sees Shiva and in a second, he sees Panduranga again. And that's when he bows down and he says, I apologize for my folly. You are one and the same. And this particular incident has a very special name of Vittalā, but we will not give you that special name today, otherwise none of you will come on 22nd. So this particular episode is connected to a very, very beautiful name of Vittalā that is used till today to understand his Tattvam. But this particular goldsmith, his name was Narahari Sonar, and we thought that this bhavam was very important to understand, especially as we are sitting in the presiding deity of Malleswaram, which is Kadu Malleswara, and also because several Vaishnavite saints have sung in praise of Shiva. So we take you with that bhavam to the most beautiful aspect of Tyagaraja Swami, who is such a Rama Bhakta, who said, Shiva 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 Yanarada, oh mind, can you not say his name with love? Can you not offer him Bilva with love? So we present to you that beautiful bhavam of Tyagaraja Swami that connects to how sons across Bharatavarsha saw Shiva and Vishnu as reflections of each other.
Shiva 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 Yanarada, Shiva 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 Yanarada, Hori Bhavabhaya Badana Nana Tukorada, Shiva 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 Yanarada, Hori Bhavabhaya Badana Nana Tukorada, Shiva 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 Yanarada. Bhamala parula dhanamula rosi kamadula degavosi para bhamala dhanamula పామరత్వము ఎడబాసి పామరత్వము ఎడబాసి పామరత్వము ఎడబాసి అతి నేమముతో బిల్వార్చన చేసి నేమముతో అతి నేమముతో అతి నేమముతో బిల్వార్చన చేసి శివ 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 రాధా కోరి భవభయ బాధల నరకు కోరాధా శివ శివ శివయన రాధా ఆగమములను తీయించి ఆగమములను తీయించి బహు బాగులేని భాషలు చాలించి ఆగమములను తీయించి బహు బాగులేని భాషలు చాలించి భాగవతులను పోషించి భాగవతులను పోషించి భాగవతులను పోషించి భాగవతులను పోషించి పోరి త్యాగరాజ సన్నుతుడనియచి త్యాగరాజ సన్నుతుడనియచి శివ శివ శివయన రాధా ఓరి భవభయ బాధల నరసు కోరాధా శివ శివ శివయన రాధా
We will have a darshanam of Kadumaleshwara as we just walk through, and from there, from the back door of this temple, we exit towards the Venugopal Swami temple. So we will be doing this with Harinama and Haranama on our lips. So I think this entrance is blocked, so we will head from the side entrance. So again, encouraging all of you to fully participate. The more you say those names, the more powerful it is.
शंभो महादेव शंभो महादेव शंभो महादेव देव शंभो 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 शंभो महादेव
So when we were putting together what we would sing as we went ahead, as much as the spirit of abhangs is the heart of today, being in Karnataka, being in Bangalore, I think both of us felt the pinch when Purandaradasa was nowhere coming on this. So last night at 11 o'clock, it hit both of us like a bolt that there is such an appropriate song for this occasion. This entire concept of people gathering together for Nama Sankirtanam is typically what used to happen when in Unchavritti. It is what used to happen when Bhagavatars used to go singing the name of the Lord from house to house, and people would hear this name and give whatever bhiksha they can. By now, several of you would have figured out which composition of Purandaradasa, which gem we are going to present to you, which is so appropriate as we have the longest part of the walk now, which is to Venugopal Swami Mandiram. We present to you Ragi Tandiro, Bhikshake Ragi Tandiro. And Purandaradasa's wish is that in addition to giving, just literally giving Ragi, his wish is that people become worthy of what their ultimate potential can be. That is why it is Yogya Ragi, Bhogya Ragi, Bhagyavanta Ragi Nivu. This is our wish for this collective gathering that all of you all have showed up here on a Sunday morning. With this, we head to the Venugopal Swami temple. We encourage all of you to stick to the group closer, because then the collective energy of the Nama Sankirtanam is also felt. When Ragi Tandiro concludes, it will move into Krishna Nama Sankirtana, because today is his day, so let's give it to him unabashedly.
रागी तंदिरो भिक्षके रागी तंदिरो रागी तंदिरो भिक्षके रागी तंदिरो भिक्षके रागी तंदिरो रागी तंदिरो भिक्षके रागी तंदिरो भिक्षके रागी तंदिरो योग्य रागी भोग्य रागी भाग्यवंत रागी नीवु योग्य रागी भोग्य रागी भाग्यवंत रागी नीवु योग्य रागी भोग्य रागी भाग्यवंत रागी नीवु योग्य रागी भोग्य रागी भाग्यवंत रागी रागी तंदिरो भिक्षके रागी तंदिरो भिक्षके रागी तंदिरो ಅನ್ನದಾನವ ಮಾಡುವರಾಗಿ ಅನ್ನ ಛತ್ರವನಿಟ್ಟವರಾಗಿ ಅನ್ನದಾನವ ಮಾಡುವರಾಗಿ ಅನ್ನ ಛತ್ರವನಿಟ್ಟವರಾಗಿ ಅನ್ನದಾನವ ಮಾಡುವರಾಗಿ ಅನ್ನ ಛತ್ರವನಿಟ್ಟವರಾಗಿ ಅನ್ನ ಛತ್ರವನಿಟ್ಟವರಾಗಿ ಅನ್ಯವಾರ್ತೆಗಳ ಬಿಟ್ಟವರಾಗಿ ಅನ್ಯವಾರ್ತೆಗಳ ಬಿಟ್ಟವರಾಗಿ ಅನುದಿನ ಭಜನೆಯ ಮಾಡುವರಾಗಿ ಅನುದಿನ ಭಜನೆಯ ಮಾಡುವರಾಗಿ ರಾಗಿ ತಂದಿರೋ ಭಿಕ್ಷಕೆ 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 ರಾಗಿ ತಂದಿರೋ ಮಾತಾ ಪಿತರನು ಸೇವಿಪರಾಗಿ ಪಾತಕ ಕಾರ್ಯವ ಬಿಟ್ಟವರಾಗಿ ಪಾಪಕ ಕಾರ್ಯವ ಬಿಟ್ಟವರಾಗಿ ಮಾತಾ ಪಿತರನು ಸೇವಿಪರಾಗಿ ಪಾತಕ ಕಾರ್ಯವ ಬಿಟ್ಟವರಾಗಿ ಜಾತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಮಿಗಿಲಾದವರಾಗಿ ಜಾತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಮಿಗಿಲಾದವರಾಗಿ maybe we'll all just stay here for a while and sing the song so that we can all sing together. ಮಾತಾ ಪಿತರನು ಸೇವಿಪರಾಗಿ ಪಾತಕ ಕಾರ್ಯವ ಬಿಟ್ಟವರಾಗಿ ಪಾತಕ ಕಾರ್ಯವ ಬಿಟ್ಟವರಾಗಿ ಜಾತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಮಿಗಿಲಾದವರಾಗಿ ಜಾತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಮಿಗಿಲಾದವರಾಗಿ ನೀತಿ ಮಾರ್ಗದಲ್ಲಿ ಖ್ಯಾತವರಾಗಿ ಖ್ಯಾತವರಾಗಿ stop for the charanam and sing the Pallavi. Ragi tandiro, bhikshake ragi tandiro, bhikshake ragi tandiro, bhikshake ragi tandiro, yogya ragi, bhogya ragi, bhagyavantaraagi neevu, bhogya ragi, bhagyavantaraagi neevu, yogya ragi, bhogya ragi, bhagyavantaraagi neevu. Ragi tandiro, bhikshake ragi tandiro, bhikshake ragi tandiro, bhikshake ragi tandiro, Shri Ramanana sada smariಸುವ ragi, ragi, ragi tandiro, bhikshake ragi tandiro, bhikshake ragi, bhikshake ragi tandiro, bhikshake ragi tandiro, bhikshake ragi tandiro, bhikshake ragi tandiro. So we might be changing the raga now, but we move on to a Krishna Namavali. This is a pretty popular Namavali, so everybody can easily follow. Krishna Krishna Mukunda Janardhana, Krishna Govinda Narayana Hare, Krishna Govinda Narayana Hare, Krishna Krishna Mukunda Janardhana, Krishna Govinda Narayana Hare,
Krishna Mukunda Janardana, Krishna Govinda Narayana Hare,
Achyutananda Govinda Madhava, Sachitananda Narayana Hare,
Achyutananda Govinda Madhava, Sachidananda Narayana Hare,
Achyutananda Govinda Madhava, Sachitananda Narayana Hare,
Achyutananda Govinda Madhava, Sachidananda Narayana Hare,
Krishna Krishna Mukunda Janardana, Krishna Govinda Narayana Hare, Krishna Krishna Mukunda Janardana, Krishna Govinda Narayana Hare,
Krishna Krishna Mukunda Janardana, Krishna Govinda Narayana Hare,
Achyutananda Govinda Madhava, Sachitananda
Govinda Madhava,
Sachitananda Narayana Hare,
Sachidananda Narayana Hare,
Achyutananda Govinda Madhava,
Achyutananda Govinda Madhava,
Sachitananda Narayana Hare,
Krishna Krishna Mukunda Janardana, Krishna Govinda Narayana Hare,
Krishna Govinda Narayana Hare,
Krishna Govinda Narayana Hare.
So from here on, it's a different Namavali. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama,
The Yatra kept continuing for Nāmdev. A major part of North India is what he covered. But within him, somewhere, there was still a part of him that felt that his everything was in Pandharpur. His Swami was in Pandharpur. And his Swami in Pandharpur is also Sarvantaryami. Realized that unless Nāmdev comes out of this notion, he is not going to be able to become one with him. So, through Dhyaneshwar, Nāmdev started to hear about the importance of a guru. So Dhyaneshwar would tell him, you need to find a guru for yourself. He said, why? I am already in love with Panduranga. There is no need for a guru. He is my guru. Which sounds convincing. But the problem was that Nāmdev only saw, whichever murti he saw Panduranga. But he did not see him beyond that. So one night, when Nāmdev was sleeping, after he had a very fierce argument, where he was very defiant with Dhyaneshwar, he said, I will not find a guru. Panduranga is my guru. That night, Panduranga came to him in his dream. And he said, why are you not taking a guru? So Nāmdev said, you are my guru. He said, really? If I am your guru, you can recognize me in any form. He said, yeah, you come in whichever form you want. I will recognize you. So Panduranga said, okay, challenge accepted. The next morning, when Nāmdev was opening his eyes, in front of him a horse and a horseman went past. Nāmdev didn't pay any attention. He woke up, he was carrying on with his morning ablutions. That night, Panduranga came in his dream and he said, I went past as the horseman. You didn't even pay attention. So Nāmdev then smiled, bowed down and he said, okay, I agree for the importance of a guru. Where will I find one? That's what he went and asked Dhyaneshwar. Dhyaneshwar knew that there was still, now the awareness has shifted that he needs a guru. But Nāmdev's idea of a guru was something very challenging. His idea of a guru was that he should be like Dakshinamurti, Mauna Vyakya, Prakatita Parabrahma Tattvam, that he should be in a certain way. And Panduranga didn't want to confine him to this idea. So Dhyaneshwar told him, in this particular temple of Shiva, you go inside, he gives him directions to go there. Dhyaneshwar doesn't accompany him there, he just tells him how to go, because the search to a guru must be an individual one. It's not a Nagar Sankirtana there. So Dhyaneshwar gives him the instructions on how to find the guru, and Nāmdev follows the instructions to the T. He reaches that particular temple and he's expecting that, so he knows that there is a Shivalingam inside and he's expecting that in front of the Shivalingam is where his guru will be seated. He will go and do a namaskaram. This is all going as per plan until he reaches there. Except when he reaches the temple, he doesn't find any guru around. So he looks around, he says, okay, maybe he must not be here, he comes in. Then he says, while I'm waiting, let me go and do namaskaram to Swami. So there, what Nāmdev sees him shocks him. He sees the Shivalingam, but he sees a man sitting with both his feet on the lingam. Nāmdev screams. And at that same moment, that man looks at him and he says, come, you only are supposed to be my Shishya, no? What happens between them? Why is that man his guru, and what is the reason that man was sitting with his feet on the Shivalingam? We will reveal to you only on 22nd. So, with that bhavam, with that question mark on all your faces, we conclude this Nagar Sankirtanam with the idea that we began there where we saw Ganapati and Vishnu as one, and we came all along. The idea is that we should be able to see him in everything. In this Kalyani, it is Vittalā. In this Kshetram, it is Vittalā. So therefore, it is appropriate for us to conclude with Tirtha Vittalā, Kshetra Vittalā, and then leave you on your own journeys this Ekadashi.
Guru Vittalā, Guru Devata Vittalā, Guru Vittalā, Guru Devata Vittalā, Nidhana Vittalā, Nirantara Vittalā, Nidhana Vittalā, Nirantara Vittalā, Tirtha Vittalā, Kshetra Vittalā, Tirtha Vittalā, Kshetra Vittalā, Tirtha Vittalā, Kshetra Vittalā,
Tirtha Vittalā, Kshetra Vittalā,
Tirtha Vittalā, Kshetra Vittalā.
Exactly, I know. Nidhi told me.
Tirtha Vittalā, Kshetra Vittalā.
Kshetra Vittalā.
Tirtha Vittalā, Kshetra Vittalā. Mata माता विठ्ठला पिता विठ्ठला बंधू विठ्ठला गोत्र विठ्ठला बंधू विठ्ठला गोत्र विठ्ठला विठ्ठल विठ्ठल जय जय विठ्ठल 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 बोल पंढरीनाथ महाराज की जय.